Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Campus Safety Voices. I'm Robin Hattersley, Editor-in-Chief of Campus Safety. Welcome to the show. We're really glad you're here. And today we are going to be talking about emergency management and medical emergencies on campus. And I'm really excited today to have with us John Marcus, who is Director of Emergency Management at the University of Vermont. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, before we get started, I just want to ask everyone in our audience to please subscribe to our channel and like and subscribe. And of course, subscribe to all of our social media platforms like LinkedIn, like X, like Facebook. So with that, let's start. So John, and by the way, John was a finalist for our Director of the Year Awards program this year. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
And one of the things that really caught our eye was the Cat ECare program. So, John, can you tell me what that is and what's it all involve?
Certainly. So our mascot is the catamount. So a lot of our programs and different things that we do have a cat named to them. So Cat ECare is short for Catamount Emergency Care. And that involves the placement of stations around campus that contain automated external defibrillators or AEDs, stop the bleed kits for severe bleeding, and Narcan or naloxone for opioid overdose reversal. And along with that, there's a training component as well that I'd like to talk about.
Great. I'm sure that's CPR, first aid, things like that, bleeding control.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I can tell you a little bit about how the program came into being. We had a smattering of AEDs around campus for a few years. It was something that departments just kind of bought on their own, and there was no rhyme or reason to where they were, what brand they were, who was maintaining them, whether anyone knew they were there, whether anyone was trained in them. And I have a background in emergency medical services and the fire service. And I looked at this, and it was a risk management problem, and it was not a really good public safety solution. So I started thinking about what we could do to maybe make things better, increase what we had, and get some training involved as well. So I reached out to a student intern that I was working with, and I said, I have a new project. Let's talk about AEDs on campus. So we did a lot of brainstorming, and the semester ended. I got new interns, and we decided to bring in some campus partners. We have a College of Medicine here. We have a School of Nursing and Health Sciences, and we have a completely student-run Advanced Life Support Rescue Squad on campus that operates 2 ambulances 24/7, holidays, summers, all that, and they serve the surrounding community as well. So we got representatives from all those groups, and we sat down and started figuring out what we could do to try to increase the number of AEDs on campus and provide a training program.
So now, did you notice any particular trend besides the AEDs? Did the program just sort of expand from there type of a thing where, okay, we got some AEDs now, oh, wait, people need to be trained on CPR, and oh, maybe they need to know about bleeding control. Is that kind of how it happened?
Well, this is the great thing about working with students, and I mean really engaging them, not just, sitting at a table and waiting for them to come talk to you, or handing them a brochure or giving them a social media account to follow or something, but really actively involving them and giving them agency and a stake in things. So I was thinking AEDs, and along with AEDs, I think high quality CPR, because AEDs are designed to be used by the public, by lay people. They walk you through how to use them. But research has shown that with high quality CPR and an AED, somebody's survival from a sudden cardiac arrest, the rate dramatically increases if you add that CPR and training on how to use an AED. and the comfort level as well, of somebody, actually taking that off the wall and attending to the person in distress. So, I was really in tune to that training issue and the AEDs and CPR and all that. And, we had been independently looking at active threat response and things like that. And, we had talked about stop the bleed kits and, how we could augment the emergency medical response to an active threat. And one of the students said, why don't you put the stop the bleed kits in the AED cabinets? And I exactly, I was like, well, why didn't I think of that? Because I was thinking of budgets and hours and other things and not putting stop the bleed kits in the AED kits. So we talked about that and we're like, yeah, there's a training program for that. We can train people in that. And then this group of, we have a faculty member from the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, myself and my interns and a representative from the Student Rescue Squad. And we meet monthly and one of the employees, either me or the faculty member, takes turn buying coffee for the group. So that's the weekly meeting is in a coffee shop on campus. And we buy the students coffee. And at one of the subsequent meetings, one of the students said, Narcan isn't really widely available on campus and, it's an issue everywhere, I'm sure.
Absolutely,
The
yes.
surrounding area here, campus, nobody's immune from it, students, professors, staff. It's a huge thing and accessibility is key and there are places where you can get it on campus. But you have to know where to go. It's only during business hours, things like that. And somebody said, could we make that more available? And if there's, kind of a place people are looking for emergency equipment, why don't we put it in there? So that was added again at the suggestion of a student.
That's great. Now, let's back up a little bit here. How did you get support for this program in the first place? And how did you get the funding for it? That's always the multi-million-dollar question, right?
That is the multi-million-dollar question. So the AEDs, the first thing we did is we talked to our people here. We have a department that maintains medical equipment because we have a medical school and we're affiliated with a teaching hospital. We have a department that does nothing but maintain medical equipment. So they know a lot about AEDs and they're able to give us a quantity discount. They purchase AEDs along with the state health department and some of the hospitals in the state. So we can get really good pricing on them. So we said, what's the model? We want one model. Right now, we still have some older models and there's supply chain issues and getting the pads and the batteries and everything. Some are 2-year pads, some are 4-year pads, some the batteries are 5 years, some they're proprietary batteries, some they're Duracell camera batteries. So we asked them to standardize the AED for us and then give us a rock bottom price to buy these AEDs. We asked the departments or the occupants of a building to buy the AED. And it's about $1,800 to $1,900 right now for the AED, including the cabinet and the sign. And then I buy bleeding control supplies in bulk from a medical supply company. I buy plastic bags from a office supply company and I make up labels on my office printer and my student rescue volunteers sit down with 100 plastic bags, 200 tourniquets, 200 dressings, trauma shears, nitrile gloves, and they assemble the kits for me and put our custom branded sticker on it. And we can produce those at about half the price of a commercially available stop the bleed kit. My budget furnishes those. And the Narcan, we're able to get that for free through a state program. So essentially, if a department pays for the AED in the cabinet, I pay for the installation, I pay for the maintenance, I provide the bleeding control kit, and I provide the Narcan. So it's kind of a synergy kind of thing where you buy a little and you get a lot.
Absolutely. So what was your pitch to the top administrators and to the department heads about this program? I mean, 1,800 bucks. I mean, when you think about saving a life, that doesn't seem like much money, but when you're laying out 1,800 bucks, per department, that can be quite an expenditure. What's your pitch to get them to buy into this thing?
So there's a saying, and I always mess up sayings, which is why the students love me. But luck is where opportunity meets preparation. And in January of 2023, there was a nationally televised football game where a player, Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills, a young, perfectly healthy athlete, had a sudden cardiac arrest in front of millions of people on TV and was resuscitated because they had people trained in CPR and had an AED on site, and came back and today is playing in the NFL again. And we were on break. That was early January. And we were doing, a lot of the training and tabletop exercises and things that we try to squeeze in when the students aren't there. And the provost came out to me and said, what'd you think about that Damar Hamlin thing? And I said, yeah, that was really amazing. Really, everything worked out. And she said, do we have those machines here? And I said, funny that you mention that, because I've been working with some students on a program, and we're trying to develop this. And she said, give me a quote for, and she named 7 buildings. And she said, I want to fully outfit these 7 buildings. And after that, it just became a kind of a momentum thing. It's like, sometimes you just have to get out of the way when something starts. And we made up the program. We branded it with a cat name. We made up a logo, and we went out there and started promoting it at the different, health fairs and safety fairs and orientations and things like that. And it was a thing.
So now, how did you broach the topic with students? How did you get them involved? I mean, are you regularly involved with students anyway, and was this just sort of an add-on type of a thing, or did you have to pretty much launch this thing from the get-go?
So I'm the advisor to the student-run ambulance service. So I have contact with them all the time. We work very closely together. They've been in existence for 52 years continuously. A very well-respected organization in the area, and they're completely run by students. 9 elected student officers for everything from director, training, equipment, vehicle, personnel, and they understand the importance of early intervention and in everything: cardiac arrest, opioid overdose, severe bleeding. So they were with me right from the start. And I also, 4 years ago, public health became very intermingled with emergency management. Emergency management used to be about, earthquakes and floods and fires and hurricanes and things like that. And all of a sudden, public health became like a big part of emergency management and emergency preparation. And we have a really good public health sciences undergraduate program here, a Bachelor of Sciences program. And I had been getting interns from that program. And these are students who are in public health, but they're interested in emergency preparation, emergency management. And they were kind of the ambassadors for this. They went out and talked to people, and we have, coming up, we have, I think, 60 students who belong to student clubs like the rugby club and the soccer club and that kind of. We have 60 students who are about to go through our training.
Wow.
And our students have gone out and talked to people. We have a ski club, and they said, hey, you really should have this training. Absolutely. And an outdoor club and all that kind of stuff. So between my public health sciences interns and my rescue student volunteers, they've really done all the heavy lifting for me. I just sit back and smile and buy them coffee, and they go out and preach.
So I guess the moral of the story is, if you've got a teaching hospital or a nursing school, they're a prime audience for this, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. But I wouldn't limit it to that. We have a lot of students who come here who have been lifeguards or, worked in some kind of park or childcare or something where they've had this kind of training. And a lot of them are, would be excited to be able to continue it. And, maybe work in a program like this. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, an undergraduate program or, students in an organized rescue squad or anything like that. It's just finding, like-minded people who want to, get involved in a project.
So what have been the results of this program? It's been going on for about a year now, is that right?
Yeah, this is our, really our second year of having a full class schedule. The training we have, it's conducted entirely by students. So they take American Heart Association Basic Life Support instructor certification. So they're able to deliver the training and certify the participants. They're also stop the bleed instructors. The Narcan, there's no formal training or certification for, but it's just, kind of an introduction and an overview. So I have a core of student instructors, which the nature of college is that you have a certain number of students graduating or leaving every year, and you have to keep training new people, but you get fresh perspectives and fresh ideas and diversity into the program by doing that. So they teach the classes, and we teach a regular class on Monday evening and a regular class on Friday afternoon, all semester long. We have a registration system that the university provides at no cost to the program. So people can just click a link on our website and go online and see all the classes and pick one and register for it. And then we do a lot of special groups, this being the week before the students come back for the fall semester. We're training a lot of student employees. We're training a lot of groups. There's an outdoor trip that goes out the week before classes start, and all their leaders, 40 of their leaders have just been through the training. So we set up special training for them. So it's really, it's been talked about, and we've been, designing logos and making up names and things for about 3 years now, but this is really our second year of offering a full slate of classes. We now have 99, we call them Cat ECare stations, but the AED, the Stop the Bleed kit, and the Narcan, we are going to install the 100th, and we're going to have a little ceremony with the provost and the dean of the College of Medicine and the dean of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences and some of the students who were involved. So I haven't got a response from them yet. I just invited them today. When I realized we were at 99, I was like, oh, we'll put up the 100th and we'll have a little party.
Absolutely. The thing, since the program's been going on for a little bit, I know that sometimes when programs start, there's a lot of energy and excitement about it, and then things kind of trail off and people stop paying attention to it. How do you maintain that energy and that excitement?
Again, it comes back to the students. I hate to beat the same drum, but we have new students every semester. We ended up being so successful that I actually hired a student employee over the summer because we don't have that many academic programs going on that we have interns. But I hired an employee over the summer who was one of my students, but pretty much every semester we get brand new students, we get new interns from the public health sciences program, we get a new representative from the rescue squad. And the faculty member who started this with us was going to retire last year, and he actually postponed his retirement, went to his dean and said, I want to work part-time and work on this program and teach 1 or 2 classes. But he said it put a bounce back into his step. It gave him a reason to come to work every day. And it's just, I think you get new young people coming into the program, coming into the meetings, and they've got ideas and they've got energy, and they're seeing something, and we give them a look behind the scenes as well. I mean, when something doesn't go well, I'm very honest with them, and not at all censored with my language or my feelings about, if something doesn't go well, or, but things like the registration system, and we're moving to a case management system when people email us about, something, they didn't get their certification card, or something, we had shared an email inbox, and there's always a lot of confusion about, did somebody answer that email or whatever. So we're going to a case management system now, and we're implementing that this fall, and the student interns will be involved in that implementation. So the earlier students got to see how the registration system was set up, and the information that we gather from registrants, and the things we tell them, wear comfortable shoes and do this and that, and this is what the class will be. And now this case management system, they'll be involved with the developer, talking about what reports do we want to be able to generate, and what tracking do we want to do, and who's going to have access, and what email templates do we want to use, and what knowledge base articles do we want. So they get a little bit of something new every year, and we're constantly trying to figure out what we can do to keep it fresh and keep people engaged.
Speaking of keeping it fresh, I know that, AEDs don't last forever. Batteries wear out, the pads wear out, the, Narcan probably has an expiration date. How do you keep track of all that, all those supply chain issues, and so that everything is, because I mean, I think of like people who have two-way radios, and they're stuck in a closet, and then they finally need it, and it's been 5 years since they've even, and then the battery's dead and they can't use it. The same thing I think is the potential for an AED or something like this. How do you keep all the supplies fresh?
Yeah, that was one of the issues initially that, led us to kind of get more involved in this program. And the department that I mentioned before, Technical Services Partnership, that does all the equipment, we contract with them to inspect every unit once a month. They inspect the AED, the pads, the Narcan expiration date, make sure everything's in the bleeding control kit and all that. And they have a database, so they know when every piece of equipment is going to expire and where it is. And they give me spreadsheets, and that is the one thing that my department does pay a good bit of money for, but it's well worth it. And there are 2 technicians who are involved in the program, and they're really invested in it. Sometimes they stop by and at our meetings and talk to the students, and we have them explain to the students like what they look for when they inspect an AED and things like that. And they, like they'll come to our 100th AED celebration, and for them, it's not just checking a piece of equipment, but they understand what, actually one of them's a volunteer firefighter in his home community, but they're highly invested in it. But it is a contract that we pay for to have everything inspected and tracked.
And have there been any medical emergencies where these kids have been deployed and used and possibly saved a life?
There have not yet. We do have a history of a couple of saves on this campus before the program started. There was one at a basketball game where a coach had a sudden cardiac arrest, and there was a faculty member who had a sudden cardiac arrest, and there happened to be EMTs like standing by at both times that happened. So it has happened in the past, but we have not had anything yet.
Well, and truth be told, it doesn't just happen to older adults. It happens to young adults. It happens to kids, and or maybe they slice their hand or something, and they need a bleeding control kit, or like the opioid addiction. You know, that's been going around for so long. I mean, I mean, there's so many uses for these types of systems. I really love them. Any sage advice for other campuses wanting to set up a similar program like Cat ECare?
I do want to say one more thing about it as far as what we've done out of this program and that we haven't necessarily, they haven't used the equipment to save anyone yet. But I get emails from former students and they say that the time we spent working on Cat ECare was absolutely the best time we had in 4 years of college. So it's, there's the program and there's the saving lives and stuff, which is not to be discounted. But in tandem with that, we're giving these students like this experience that they're talking about, and our student instructors are leaving here with the ability to teach basic life support and certify people. And if I'm a prospective employer and I'm, looking at a student's resume and they're like, hey, they can teach all the other employees how to do CPR and use an AED and stop the bleed and Narcan.
Well, and you never know when they're going to actually go out into their own communities or in their lives, and they may, they may be standing in line at McDonald's and someone has a heart attack and they can administer CPR.
That's a huge thing, and that's, we're a land grant university, and part of our mission is to serve the state and have a lot of our students come from very rural areas where EMS may be 20 minutes away, and so having these people go back to their their towns of residence or working in places where they're trained to do these things, it's fantastic. But back to your question that I derailed about my sage advice. I think I don't like committees and groups for doing things. I find a lot of committees and groups can be unproductive and very slow moving and difficult to get things done. But I think in a case where you're kind of starting something brand new, it's really great to have different people at the table. If you're a staff member, if you're a police chief or a public safety director or something like that, to involve faculty, to involve students, student government, things like that, and student clubs, volunteer organizations, like get these people at the table, and I think of 10% of the things that they think of. They've got a tremendous wealth of experience and knowledge and stuff that they bring to the table. So I think if you want to start something new or create something or drastically rebuild or improve something, don't try to do it by yourself, and don't try to do it in a silo with other public safety people or emergency management people or law enforcement people. Get people around the table, buy them coffee, and don't just hand them a sticker and say, put this on your water bottle, but say, hey, we want to do this. What do you think we should do? What do we need? How do we do this? And so that's, the engagement of the whole community.
Bribery with coffee will do wonders. John, anything else you want to add before we close?
I don't think so. I've enjoyed talking to you, and I'm really proud of this program. I know that AEDs are becoming a lot more common in public places. You see them everywhere, and college campuses as well. And this isn't really something groundbreaking and earth-shattering that we did something that nobody's ever done before. But I'm just very proud of the way that we did this, and that it's continuing to sustain itself and grow our students and involve them in the health and safety here on our campus.
John, thank you so much, and thank you everybody for watching.
Thank you, Robin.